Going on, Falcon fans? This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video, bi-week video. The Falcons have a bye this week, so we're gonna start talking about. Only got 4 games left in the season. Falcons, believe it or not, still alive in the playoffs. Probably right now they're saying got like a 4% chance. But if you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule, look at the New Orleans Aints schedule, it's not looking real good for either of those teams to just, run away with this division. So at the end of the day, the Falcons still have a chance. We just have to see what that's going to be about. What's going on just a minute? So today I'm talking about draft picks. Right, it's almost time to start talking about next season, what the Falcons plan on doing. We looked at the Falcons have played 13 games this season. Kind of got an idea where they need to go. What's going on, Christy? Idea where they need to go, what they need to do, what they need to be looking for, moving forward to next season. So what I did today, I'm gonna go over about 5 defensive players, specifically talking about defensive line. I think that's one of the areas they really need to look at in the draft. Of course, they can definitely look at that in free agency as well, but we're gonna talk about a couple of guys that we might start hearing about, on the Falcons radar if they're going to go defensive line, pass rusher, and in that first pick. Right now, the Falcons scheduled to pick 10th overall, so it's a top 10 pick. So a lot of these guys that I'm going to talk about today could definitely be on their radar, considering that the quarterbacks is going to go early. So that's going to push some of these defensive players down. And if the Falcons stay in the top 10 where they're currently at right now in the draft, we definitely can see one Falcons potentially picking one of these guys that I'm going to talk about today. Defensive line is definitely not the only position that they need to be looking at. I think they need to look in the defensive backfield. They probably need to get some offensive line help as well. That's just the needs. But like I said, we got a pretty good staff, a pro staff as well, so they definitely can go get some of these needs, in the free agency, not just in the draft. So, but today I'm just talking about draft picks, and we'll go over some of these guys. Something to talk about during the bye. Still waiting to see where Arthur Smith decide to do with the quarterback position. Like I said, I think they would not make a move because we were still in the hunt. We are still in the hunt, so Arthur Smith does have a big decision to make on Desmond Ridder and Marcus Mariota. Like I said, in my opinion, I think it's time. We're 5-8. We still in the hunt, but at some point in time, you got to figure out what you have in Desmond Ridder. I think these 4 games is a good litmus test for him because it's good quality opponents. And then it's kind of pressure at the same time because we're still in the hunt. So we're actually still playing for something. I don't see putting Desmond Ridder in would be a really bad decision considering the way we able to pass the ball right now. I think you might need to just mix it up and see what Desmond Ridder has. So that's just my opinion. So we're going to get into these draft picks. So guys, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys like to hear what I talk about. And please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about these Atlanta Falcons. So we're going to get right into my draft pick. Like I said, I'm going to go over 5 defensive players, talk about them, get my opinion about them. Definitely could see some of these guys going. A lot of these guys might be off the board by the time the Falcons pick, but you never know. During the draft season, a lot of guys come up the draft board, especially quarterbacks and things like that. So it is some teams that really need quarterbacks out there. The Carolina Panthers, the Houston Texans. You have to just see some teams that could definitely use quarterback. The Atlanta Falcons might need a quarterback. We don't know. We just have to see how Desmond Ridder pan out. That's why I think it's such important to see what Desmond Ridder has before we have to decide what we need to do in the draft as well. So the first guy I'm going to talk about tonight will be outside linebacker, edge rusher, Will Anderson from Alabama. Actually, a prospect that probably could have came out the draft last year, because last year he actually had better numbers than he has this year. Last year, Will Anderson had 34 and a half tackles for a loss and 17 sacks. That was last year alone. So Will Anderson definitely probably could have been the top 10 pick last year if he would decide to come out the draft. A lot of people thought maybe he could be a top number one overall pick this year, but like I said, it's a lot of quarterback needy teams out there. So more than likely, Will Anderson probably go in the top 5. But if he does not, and the Falcons still sitting around that 10 spot, definitely could be somebody that the Falcons could consider. Will Anderson perfect for the Atlanta Falcons because um he has great speed. He's able to run with tight ends. So he can actually play that 3-4 linebacker, outside linebacker, and rush the passer as well. Already got a pretty good spin move. Definitely probably need to work on some of his pass rush techniques. He's able to play in run rush in the inside as well. So some of the things that he definitely could do. One of the knocks on him, probably he's not really that good in the run defense. So that's one of the things he would definitely have to do. He's only 243 pounds. Maybe need to pick up some weight as well. We know D'Angelo Malone had that issue. I think he got like 250. But going up against some of those tackles, left and right tackles in NFL is going to be really hard. Not if you don't pick up some weight. So, but guy that definitely has all the abilities to be a star in the NFL. Like I said, speed, already has some pass rush moves, definitely could develop more, but somebody that the Atlanta Falcons definitely could be looking at, fits the scheme, DNP scheme as well. Guy Will Anderson out of Alabama. Like I said, in my opinion, he will not be there at number 10 if the Falcons stay there, but just a guy that we could consider. Definitely need to get our pass rush. Last year we had 18 sacks. We will have more sacks than that this year, but not too many more. Just not looking like we're gonna have. Maybe we might end up 25 or 30 sacks this year, which I would want to see that number a little bit higher than that. Sacks are not everything. Definitely getting the passer off his spot and things like that we want to consider. But adding another pass rusher to this defense will not hurt at all for Atlanta. They got to start being able to affect the passer in the passing game. All right. So that's one of the biggest things that I think we need to do. Will Anderson, probably the highest drafted defensive player in the draft. So that's why I selected him first. So let's go to the next defensive player. And I said Will Anderson is probably the highest, but this guy could definitely have an argument for that as well. And that's Jalen Carter out of Georgia. If you guys know this young man, he definitely could have came out of Georgia last year with all the other 15 draftees out of Georgia last year. He was one of the guys. A lot of people saying he might have been the best defensive lineman on the team last year, but he decided to stay this year and come back. Of course, he did take an injury early in the season, so he didn't I only think he had like 134 snaps this season, but I don't think that hurt him at all. What's going on, James? I don't think that hurt his draft stock at all because the things he was able to do last year. Jalen Carter right now is 6'3", 300 pounds, run like a 4'9". Strong hands inside, able to read and get off blocks quick. He stays in the backfield. If you've been watching Georgia games, he's powerful and balanced. Able to take on double teams. He has strong hands and good at the point of attack. One of the things you definitely have to deal with Jalen Carter probably needs to work on is being able to get up. Sometimes he gets stuck on his blocks sometimes, but somebody like Jalen Carter would go real good beside Grady Jarrett, because able to take on double teams. Like I said, strong hands inside. If you watch Georgia games, he does not get moved off the spot. What you want to do, especially when you're playing that defense that DMPs play, is able to be able to take on double teams. Don't let the offensive lineman get up to the second level to get to your linebackers, where your linebackers are able to make the plays that they need to make. I definitely think a guy like Jalen Carter, along with Taquan Graham, um, will definitely help a guy like Grady Jarrett. So Jalen Carter, somebody we need. A lot of us, this past draft we're talking about Jordan Davis would have been perfect for Dean Pay's scheme, being that defensive tackle in the middle. But Jalen Carter is definitely another guy, 300 pounds, real quick to catch guys on the backside. Um, Definitely need to work, being able to get off blocks in the middle. But a guy that strong hands, stays in the backfield, and able to wreak havoc. Um, I think that Jalen Carter will be a perfect pick for the Atlanta Falcons. Once again, however, though, he might not be on the board when it's time for the Atlanta Falcons to pick. But like I said, if they decide to go quarterback heavy, those first 3 or 4 picks, these defensive guys could definitely slide down the draft board and allow the Falcons to actually make some of these selections with some of these guys. All right, so that's Jalen Carter. We had a pass rush outside lineman, outside linebacker, and then we went defensive tackle inside. Jalen Carter. He's really not good at rushing the passer, but that's not what we want. We want him to be able to come in, be able to be a run stuffer, give Grady Jarrett help, and and Taquan Graham, because I thought Taquan Graham was really playing well before he took an injury this year as well. Our next guy, a young man out of Clemson, Brian Brees, defensive tackle, defensive end. Brian Brees is a guy that really probably could be higher rated than both of the guys I just talked about. However, he did sustain an ACL injury this year, so his stock could definitely drop because of the ACL injury. But if he's able to get back to the form he was before the injury, this guy here, just listen to this: 6'5", ran a 4.77, 305 pounds, bench 435 pounds, power clean 330, and deadlift 585 pounds. This guy is a monster, really good, and in the middle of that field would be definitely perfect for that 3-4 defensive tackle for Dean Pease. Plays low level, he loves to actually take on double teams. That's one of his things. Very instinctual. This guy here, if like I said, if he had not got an ACL injury, probably would be somebody very high on the draft board, which definitely, if all the medical check out, could be a perfect pick because he could fall to number 10 somewhere like that for the Atlanta Falcons. And personally, for me, I definitely would be willing to wait till he get 100% healthy to let him show what he's able to do. But Brian Brees out of Clemson is somebody we definitely need to go look at. All these guys that I'm talking about today, I'm pretty sure you're aware of most of those because these are the guys that's right now that everybody's talking about. That's on everybody top of their draft boards. Brian Brees as well, still, because I know he has the ACL injury, but like I said, his measurables, his upside, if he's able to get back to form after their injury, I think he's definitely going to be a monster in the NFL. Like I said, his size, 6'5", 305, able to run a 4.7, big man, able to move, able to actually get inside and do the things he's able to do. So one of the things I like about him, he's perfect for that 3-4 defense, that defensive tackle that we definitely can need. And I can see Grady on one side, him in the middle, and then Taquan Graham right on the other side of him. That would be perfect. somebody we have been looking for that guy all season long in the middle to actually give our defensive line help to stop to get bullied. Like I said in my last live, I felt like our offensive line kind of got punked last week against the Steelers, and I think they got punked against the Redskins as well. But you having a guy like this in the middle, able to take on double teams and don't give up ground, let your linebackers, let guys like Grady, who's quick off the ball, always keeps himself in the backfield as well, alongside Taquan Graham, who doesn't give ground himself. Um, that trio could definitely be really, really good for this Atlanta Falcons team. So Brian Brees is definitely a guy that we could be looking for in the draft. Like I said, had an ACL injury. If he check out on the medical side clean, definitely could drop. He dropped to the Falcons. Go ahead and pull his name off the board. All right, all right. Moving along, moving along. Our fourth guy is another guy from Clemson, Miles Murphy. He's one of the guys, another edge rusher, outside linebacker. Still talking about pass rush. Like I said today, I'm just talking about defensive line and edge rushers. But Miles Murphy, 6'5", and a 4'5", 275 pounds, already has the weight needed to be a edge rusher in the NFL. He's not like Will Anderson, smaller guy, 243. Maybe need to pick up some weight, but Miles Murphy is already perfect. This guy, speed to power, already has spin move caliber for NFL in his pass rush. Definitely quick off the ball. Long arms. We know we love guys with long arms because they're able to get their arms out. Don't let the tackles, get inside on them. So that's one of his strengths. Like I said, strength to power. Great motor. This guy here, another guy at Clemson. I guess their weight room workouts is awesome because he got outstanding weight room numbers as well. Just like the other guy we just talked about, Brian Brees. One of the things that he needs to work on, just make sure he stays low coming off the ball. And I think that's really easy for most guys because in college you playing lesser opponents, and you just use your power, your speed to beat some of those guys. But in the NFL, you're gonna have to use more technique because those tackles on the outside in the NFL is really good. So if he comes up high, like some of the times he do in college, he's definitely going to get beat. So that's one of the things that he probably need to work on. But already, this guy here has the size, the weight, the power to actually be really, really good in the NFL. Another guy that's top, that's out there, could definitely see a guy like Miles Murphy being the number 10. If if some offensive players get mixed up in those early picks. We know quarterbacks are going. Um, Offensive lineman could be in there. So you never know. A guy like Miles Murphy definitely could be on the Atlanta Falcons radar to be another pass rusher, right? A guy like Amber Ebiketie is coming around. We pair him with a guy like Miles Murphy. We don't know what's going to happen with Lorenzo Carter, but that dynamic duo, along with Miles, D'Angelo Malone, definitely we will have a good setter pass rushers on this team. Something the Atlanta Falcons have not had in a long time. So, guy like Miles Murphy, definitely go out check his film. Let me know what you think about Miles Murphy. And then the last guy I'm going to talk about, another guy from Georgia, actually got injured as well this season. Nolan Smith, another guy who's definitely. I'm just going to come off and say he's definitely going to have to pick up his weight because he's only 235 pounds, 6'3", running 4'5", but definitely you can see him in the Dean Peay scheme because he can run with tight ends and running backs. Somebody that's really quick off the ball, coming off the edge. But I think his biggest issue, like I said, is his side. He's definitely is going to have to put some weight on if he's going to be able to be a edge slash outside linebacker in a 3-4 scheme. He's definitely attack the edge. He's really good in the run defense, believe it or not, to be in his size. Um, Great in coverage, great feel for the game. So nothing but high praise to say about Nolan Smith. Another guy that maybe could have came out the draft last year as well and been a good pick, but staying back in Georgia, trying to go for the repeat for the national champion is what him and a guy like Jalen Collar decided to do. So you have to tip your hats off to both of those guys. But Nolan Smith is another guy. I just think he's going to have to pick up some weight. Somebody that's definitely going to have to put on some size, because if he don't put on size, he won't be able to play that position on the outside. You can see him. Don't want to compare him to the linebacker out at Dallas right now. No, similar size, build, but of course we know that guy is Michael Parsons is a beast right now. So I don't really want to compare him to Michael Parsons, but because he didn't have he has not had the numbers so a guy like Michael Parsons had. So, but that's just another guy that we definitely can look at. Georgia defensive players, sort of like a guy like Trayvon Walker that went #1 last year. Some of their numbers don't show up because they have so many good players on the team. So you don't get to see how good a guy is because the way they play him and how they rotate their line and things like that. But I definitely think Nolan Smith has the potential to be a good NFL player if he pick up that size. And it will have to check on the injury that he had. He had an injury on his shoulder. Definitely not a long-term injury, anything like that. So definitely, I don't see our issue with a guy like Nolan Smith being drafted. Maybe not in the top 10. We just have to see how his stock rises. But if the Atlanta Falcons stay in that range, some of these guys I talked about today is definitely where they definitely you can see these guys go. No, definitely I would think that the Falcons would be looking offensive line as well. We don't know what's going to go on with Kevin McGarry at the right tackle position. We might want to look at center. Not 100% sure about that. Left guard, we still haven't solidified that spot yet as well either. So they definitely could be looking at those spots. Other spots that they might want to consider is cornerback spots as well. So when we get on to some more talks about the draft, I will talk about some of those other positions. But today, I just want to come on and talk about definitely the defensive line. I think that's one of the biggest needs for the Atlanta Falcons going into the offseason. Especially it's showing up more that Taquan Graham was injured. So I thought, like I said, I thought he was more missed, believe it or not, than Kyle Pitts. Because the way we play on offense and not able to pass the ball down the field. So that's why I felt like Taquan Graham injury was going to be more significant. And I feel like in these last 2 weeks kind of showed where that has really hurt us and not being able to get off the field on third downs, not being able to stop the run and things like that. So just some of the things to really think about and consider when we talk about this. So, guys, that's it. Quick live today. Really want to go in and talk about these draftees, potential draftees. We're going to start hearing more and more about these guys in the upcoming months, especially after the season kicks off. But this is a quick, early look at some of the defensive players that the Falcons need. Considering this a bye week, not talking about games, waiting till Monday to see who's going to be that starting quarterback going into the Inks game, Inks week, hate week again, right? We got to get that win. Do you want to put the rookie quarterback out there in a rivalry game on the road I would. Just me. I don't really see. Um, he got to learn how to play someday. So, bye week, a good time to see what he has. Good time to come up with a good game plan. And I just believe that they need to find out what they have in Deshaun Ritter. We already know we have in Marcus Mariota. I don't think they believe that Marcus Mariota is the future. So you have to find out about the young quarterback and see what he's able to do. So, guys, that's all I have. Let me know what you think about the 5 draft prospects that I talked about today. Which guy would you consider? Um, don't be a homer and just pick Jalen Carter. Look at all the 5 guys and see who we definitely could pick. Honestly, personally, for me, I like Jalen Carter, but I might gamble on Brian Brees because I just like his size, his build, his power. Um, Even with the ACL injury, that's probably one of the guys that I definitely would consider. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be mad with Will Henderson or Miles Murphy either, but and definitely not Jalen Carter. So if they would have picked any of those guys, I think that'd be a good pick. But it's way too early to start thinking about that. And if the Falcons can pull some more wins out this season, they won't be picking 10th overall. They will be out of the top 10. So then that will change the outlook of some of the guys that they might be trying to look at anyway. So, guys, that's all I have today. Let me know what you think about the draft picks. Let me know what you think about your thoughts on the quarterback change coming up this next week. And that's it. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.